I was seeing AB and them talking about, you know, they were saying that they should have Roach dad should have stopped the fight. I mean, I mean, at the end of the day, her Zepeda showed some new angles, some new wrinkles, use some angles, let some shots off. Did something different, changed the speed. I guess he needed a loss to understand that, to do some things differently. You know what I mean? I guess he needed that loss to know that you just can't throw a bunch of punches and overwhelm your opponent. You know what I mean? But in general, I told y'all what Roach needs to do, and I guarantee you, Roach, from what I seen, Roach ain't do none of that. Roach countered one at a time. He threw counter shots one at a time. He didn't counter punch in combination. Now, what's so funny? I gotta give credit to somebody, bro. I forget who it was. I think somebody on Fight Hype was saying that one of the fighters was saying that Roach was looking too relaxed in training. He wasn't training the right way, and he was gonna lose. Whoever said that, he was 100%. He was 100% accurate on that last night. Roach, he didn't even try to slow the pace down. And how you try to slow the pace down? You use that jab, and you make Zepeda fall in, and you counter Zepeda, and you use your footwork, and use angles. And Roach last night, he sat right in front of Jose Zepeda and let Zepeda tee off on him. I mean, he did the same thing with Tank. The difference was, Zepeda has the ability to throw a bunch of punches. That's the difference. Zepeda has the ability to throw a bunch of punches. Tank Davis is just, he gonna throw 1, 2, 3 punch. If you really notice about Tank and Keyshawn and Devin, they don't throw a lot of punches. You know what I'm saying? That's they're not trying to, for small fighters, Jarrell Miller throw more punches on or off the Orange Juice Jones. He throws more punches than they do. David Benavidez throw more. When you're a small guy, people watch you for the speed and for the volume of punches that you're supposed to throw. And Lamont Roach is another one of those fighters who don't throw no punches. You got to ask yourself, why don't these fighters throw punches? Is it because they don't have the conditioning to throw? I think it's the conditioning, and a lot of them scared to get hit. You're going to get hit regardless. I feel, this might be in the minority of what some people believe, but I think Manny Pacquiao he would have cleaned up in this era. Because a lot of these dudes couldn't handle the volume that Manny Pacquiao was throwing. A lot of them people couldn't handle the volume that he was throwing in his general. Then you got to give him something that he can respect. You got to throw one huge punch. You got to get him with a punch that get his attention, or you got to keep making him miss and making him pay. You got to make him pay and frustrate. That's how you do a Mexican. You don't sit right in front of a Mexican, but you got to notice Lamont Roach sat right in front of Gervonta Davis. The reason he did so well versus Gervonta Davis is because Gervonta Davis don't do nothing different. Davis is just the guy like Zepeda was before he lost to Shakur. He just want to overwhelm you with his best attributes, which was Tank is he think everybody is just going to succumb to his power. And that's just not going to be the case. And Roach was able to, take his power, roll it, absorb it, and give it back. This is a different type of fight. Even with Cruz. Cruz wasn't as calculated as Zepeda was last night. Zepeda cleaned it up. He wasn't as wild. He was a little bit more, how can I say, civil in his approach. So, he took his time, and, he probably took shit off his punches, didn't throw all them hard, and that's why he was able to finish the fight. And maybe Lamont Roach and then was banking on him fading at the end of the fight and then stepping it up, and that never happened. So that never happened. So unfortunately for Lamont Roach, he didn't do anything he was supposed to do. He was supposed to be first. He was supposed to clean the body up. He was supposed to use his jab. He was supposed to, counter and combination and get off the line. This is how he fight. Lamont Roach was never that good. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? That just lets you know it's an indictment on Gervonta Davis. That lets you know it's an indictment on Isaac Cruz. And styles make fights. He was in the gym with, Gervonta Davis. He grew up with him. He grew up with Gervonta Davis in the gym. So he already knew the power and all that type of stuff. So, that's why if you see Shakur Stevenson want to fight a particular fighter, you know, hold on. Hold on. So yeah, but Roach just fought a guy that he went in the gym with in Tank. He fought a overrated Eastside Cruz, and when you see Shakur Stevenson begging to fight a particular fighter, you know he ain't shit. You know he ain't shit. So it didn't really surprise me that Zepeda won this fight. I picked him to win. I thought it was going to be by controversial decision. I thought Roach would do more, but Roach is an average. Roach is a slight back in the day. Roach is a slightly below average. House fighter like Darnell Boone or Emmanuel Augustus. He's like below them. He, just let you know anybody in this era due to the politics can touch a title. Anybody in this era due to the politics can touch a title. Ain't no way 15, 20 years ago, Roach is a champion. I like Roach, but Roach is never a world title. He don't touch any type of fucking title. 20 years ago, 25 years ago. He's like, he's like slightly below Darnell Boone, slightly below Kyron Davis, slightly below, a guy like Emmanuel Augustus and some of these other, fighters. You know what I'm saying? He ain't even as good as Orlando Salido. You know what I mean? And I ain't saying nothing. Salido was a certified, goon. Salido, everybody fuck with Salido. He should be in the Hall of Fame just off what he did, beating up on Lomachenko bitch ass. You know what I'm saying? I know Spreader cried that night, but in general, this don't surprise me none. Zepeda is an average fighter. Lamont is an average fighter. Hector got a win over Glocktavius and them niggas. So, they gonna celebrate. They should have been on Cinco de Mayo, Holmes. Yeah, Holmes, this should have been on Cinco de Mayo. That's what they saying, dude. So they finally, they beat, a below average, fighter who touched the world title, who got lucky. So hopefully Lamont Roach, they made his money off streaming. He got his 5 minutes of fame. It's over with. He got a name, so he'll always kind of be ready to get beat up by like Abdullah Mason, Zaire Moses, Carmel, any of them young niggas coming up. He just be a name to get beat up on. You know what I'm saying? He not even on Omar Figueroa level at 135. Respectfully. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully. So it's on this, people start thinking he was better than what he was. Hopefully he took care of his money. But in general, he just grew up in a gym with Tank and he got lucky and he ran into an overrated Eastside Crew. So everybody talking about, well, Zepeda, this is proved that Tank is overrated. And man, no, this proved that Cruz is overrated. Tank is overrated. Zepeda is overrated. Now people saying, well, people talk about the people that should court fight. Well, Zepeda look pretty good. Man, fuck, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out, man. All these motherfuckers is a half a foot better than each other. They all ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? But let me finish this off, man. In general, I mean, it was what it was. It wasn't. I thought it was gonna be a good fight. But what did they fight at last night? It was in Vegas. Was it at the Michelob? This wasn't no Vegas fight, respectfully. This wasn't no Vegas fight. I'm pretty sure they probably have. I mean, you didn't hear nothing about this fight week. Yeah, it was at the Virgin. My bad. It was the Virgin Hotel. You didn't hear nothing about this fight come fight week. You didn't hear nothing about it. You didn't hear anything about this particular fight come fight week. You didn't hear it. What did you hear? Nothing. All you heard was big purse bid. It's bad in boxing when the purse bid is bigger than the actual fight. So Golden Boy, they really just need to liquidate, sell off their fighters, sell their company, and just go on. They can't throw a good fight week to say they fucking life. They fight weeks are trash. But in the end of the day, let's switch lanes.